Hello, guys, and welcome to another episode of Question Block. In last week, I asked, what are your favorite video game soundtracks? And video game soundtracks are just really good in general, because they kind of help you feel immersed into the world of the game that you're playing, and they generally tend to be pretty fun to listen to overall. So in this video, I will be discussing some of the answers to last week's question. So, Fate of the P. Moreno said, probably Paper Mario the Origami King. It's one I have no doubt calling fantastic. The soundtrack exceeded my expectations. Every area has its own variation of the battle theme. There are so many individual songs for small areas that vary in genre. I have many favorite songs from it, but my ultimate ones are from the Autumn Mountain, specifically the battle theme and overworld from it. Yeah, I'd have to agree with you there. The soundtrack for Paper Mario the Origami King is definitely up there as one of my favorites, if not my favorite. It's just really good. There's so many songs that I enjoyed from it. And what I like about it is that I feel like it's kind of the perfect mix of the classic Paper Mario music and the modern Paper Mario music, because it has that whimsical energy that was kind of in Paper Mario 64 and the Thousand Year Door, and then it kind of combines it with like the wide variety of genres that were in Paper Mario Color Splash, and it kind of mixes it together to kind of create the ultimate Paper Mario soundtrack, and definitely an evolution of like the other Paper Mario soundtracks in general, I'd say. Like, it's just really good overall, and it's just really unique, and I really like the fact that each area has a unique battle theme, and all of the battle themes are excellent. Like, definitely some of the best in the series. And it's just a really enjoyable soundtrack across the board. So, Starchronic said, Super Mario Galaxy, the first Mario game with an orchestral soundtrack, was bound to impress, and it does so perfectly. However, Tears of the Kingdom is pretty good too. Yeah, Super Mario Galaxy is definitely a classic with its soundtrack. It's just really good overall. Some of my personal favorites are like Bowie Bay Galaxy, Battle Rock Galaxy, and some of the boss themes as well, like especially the final boss theme. It's just really good across the board. Like, it's definitely understandable why so many games have like remixed the songs from Super Mario Galaxy, especially like Comet Observatory and Gusty Garden Galaxy and Good Egg Galaxy. Like, those songs tend to get remixed because they're so iconic and so enjoyable. Even the Mario movie kind of like covered some of the songs from Super Mario Galaxy, like in some of the parts. But yeah, it's just an excellent soundtrack. And Tears of the Kingdom also has a great soundtrack as well. I've been playing that game for about 25 to 30 hours now. I know it's only been a few days. I've been playing that game non-stop. I know people have played it longer, but I've been playing it for quite a while. But yeah, Tears of the Kingdom is great. Like, it does have some of the same songs as Breath of the Wild, but the new ones that they added are really good. Like, one example that I have that kind of immerses me into the game is when you're going into the depths, it plays this really interesting, almost creepy song when you go in there. It makes the whole experience very immersive, and it's really fitting. And then the battle theme is also kind of, like, updated. It kind of has some of the same motifs from the Wild, but it kind of expands upon it and creates something that sounds kind of even more definitive. But yeah, it's just a great soundtrack overall. And then one other thing that I've kind of noticed about the Tears of the Kingdom, and I guess technically Breath of the Wild, is that one of the songs, I think for Rito Village, actually remixes Dragon Roost Island from Wind Waker. I actually didn't notice it until this game. Like, apparently they did remix it back in Breath of the Wild, but I just didn't notice it for some reason because I didn't really listen to the song. But one of the story events kind of has a slightly different song for Rito Village, and it sounds much more like Dragon Roost Island from Wind Waker. So I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, Tears of the Kingdom has a great soundtrack as well. So Kadix said, Mario Kart 8, with its jazzy soundtrack, never fails to make me smile, not to mention the fantastic music that has been remade for the Booster Course Pass. Such a good game, and soundtrack. Yeah, Mario Kart 8 is definitely iconic with its like jazzy soundtrack and everything. The early 2010s with Mario games, they tend to have a lot of jazz influence in their soundtracks, but I feel like Mario Kart 8 probably does it the best. Like, I feel like it's probably the most iconic out of all the early 2010s Mario soundtracks, with like the big band that it has and everything, and it's just excellent. And the fact that they're also remaking the Booster Course Pass music in that same style is amazing as well. Like, it's just really good across the board. Like, for example, one that I like is Mount Wario, that kind of changes in between, like, the different areas, and it kind of, like, slowly evolves with different instruments and different, like, styles throughout the track, and it's just amazing. But yeah, Mario Kart 8 definitely has an iconic soundtrack. So, the Mac625 said, Mario Party 6. From playing it in 2008, I was amazed by the absolute bangers within the game. My favorite song is Slow and Steady. Other goodies is Evening Treetop, Astro Avenue, Snowflake Lake, DK's theme, Bowser's theme, Dueling for Prizes, and Party's Over. Easily my #1 video game OST. Yeah, I would have to say, the GameCube Mario Party games in general have really good soundtracks, and I would say, like, also, a few others as well, but Mario Party 6, like, I kind of have to say that was my favorite, like, out of all of them in terms of soundtracks. I mean, I might be a bit biased because it's my favorite Mario Party game, but the soundtrack is pretty good. I really like the minigame themes. Like, it, like, especially, like, Slow and Steady, like the one that you mentioned, it's really good. And the board themes are really good as well. Like, Snowflake Lake is almost iconic with its theme. It's just that classic, like, winter, like, music that you'd expect to see, and it's just really good. But yeah, but my personal favorite Mario Party soundtrack, like, I know Mario Party 6 is my favorite soundtrack out of the GameCube era, and it is my favorite Mario Party game, but if I'd have to say my favorite Mario Party soundtrack would have to be Mario Party 3. The soundtrack in that game is excellent. Like, I mean, I like Mario Party 6, but I'd say Mario Party 3 is just my absolute favorite in terms of music. Because it has, my outro theme is actually one of the minigame themes, Let's Get a Move On, which is just really good, and it almost kind of gives me like a nostalgic feeling with that song, like, even though I actually haven't played Mario Party 3. It's one of the only Mario Party games I haven't played, but I have listened to the soundtrack, and it's kind of my favorite in the series now, just due to the fact that there's so many great minigame themes there. But yeah, Mario Party 6 also has a great soundtrack. So Ryan the Meme said, Rhythm Heaven for the Nintendo DS. The soundtrack is filled with so many banger songs, which makes it so fun to replay. Yeah, Rhythm Heaven, like, the series in general has some great music, like, especially with, like, the Remix 10, things and everything. Like, there's just the music is just really good. Yeah, the DS entry, yeah, there's definitely a lot of great music there, and it's definitely a pretty fun game. That's actually the only Rhythm Heaven game that I've played. Like, I found it, like, at a thrift store a few years ago, and then I played through the game on my DS. But yeah, really good game, really good music. And yeah, Juggling Gamer said, hard to pick a specific game, but Grant Kirkhope forever. Banjo-Tooie, probably. Yeah, Grant Kirkhope is definitely one of my favorite composers. Like, he's just put out so many bangers with different video game soundtracks. Like, especially, like, with Banjo-Kazooie and Donkey Kong 64, and, more recently, he also did the Mario plus Rabbids games, and Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope has an amazing soundtrack. Just absolutely amazing. Like, definitely up there is one of my favorite soundtracks. And then also the original Mario plus Rabbids has a great soundtrack as well. But yeah, between Banjo-Kazooie, like other Rare games, Mario plus Rabbids, and then the other things that he's done, just Grant Kirkhope is an amazing composer. So Masked Mastermind said, probably Paper Mario Sticker Star, though it's really hard for me to only choose one game. Yeah, unironically, Paper Mario Sticker Star actually has a good soundtrack. It's actually one of the best parts of the game. Don't get me wrong, I don't like Sticker Star. It's one of my least favorite games. Like, I don't really, like, it has so many flaws and so many things wrong with it. I feel like it kind of just ruined so many aspects of Paper Mario for me. But the soundtrack is a different story. Like, it actually has some good songs in this game. Like, some of the ones that I like are like the various boss themes, like even the Bowser battle themes and everything. Like, even though that was kind of infamous a while ago for the that one comment thread that like Moist Critical made a video about, like that one famous thread about where people were arguing and everything. But yeah, that famous battle that happened. But then there's also the Power Tower Pokey theme. That's also pretty good. That also is kind of infamous for being in a very I don't want to talk about it on YouTube, but it also became a meme a while ago, but it kind of became a meme with a different song, because like there's a different version of that thing that happened that came with a different song, but I'm not gonna discuss it because it's not appropriate for YouTube. But yeah, Paper Mario Sticker Star has a pretty good soundtrack, and yeah, I really enjoyed that part of that game, even though I didn't like Sticker Star in general. But yeah, Cody said Sonic Mania, Stardust Speedway Act 2, in Lights, Camera, Action, Go Hard. Yeah, Sonic Mania has a great soundtrack. I would have to say it's definitely up there as one of my favorite Sonic soundtracks. Like, I haven't played that many Sonic games. Well, I have played a decent amount of them, but Sonic Mania, with that game specifically, like, I just really enjoyed the soundtrack in that game, especially the ones that you mentioned. But yeah, definitely a pretty good soundtrack in that game. So, Wario Guy said, easily Deltarune Chapter 2. From Nintendo, Kirby in the Forgotten Land. Sorry, I'm generic, but Deltarune has such a good soundtrack. Yeah, Deltarune Chapter 2, like, I would say Deltarune in general has an amazing soundtrack, but yeah, Chapter 2 specifically definitely has a lot of bangers. And yeah, like, the different, like, boss themes from that, like with, Spanton and some of the others, like, it's just really good, and there's just so many, like, iconic songs from that. I wouldn't say you're generic for that, it just has a pretty good soundtrack. But yeah, Kirby in the Forgotten Land also has a really good soundtrack. I just, really enjoyed that as well. Like, I definitely enjoyed, like, the final boss for that game, but the theme that it had. For some reason, the final boss theme in that game almost reminds me of like a Xenoblade battle theme, kind of. But yeah, speaking of Xenoblade, Alexander Lawrence said, super excited for Tears of the Kingdom, hype game overall. As for my favorite video game soundtrack, it's hard to pick a favorite, but if I had to, it would have to be Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Every Xenoblade game has amazing music by legendary composers. Xenoblade 1's composer worked on Kingdom Hearts and Street Fighter 2, and Xenoblade 2's composer worked on Chrono Cross and a few prior Xeno series games, being Xenogears and Xenosaga 1. Xenoblade 3 brings back various composers and singers from both of the previous games and combines their styles flawlessly. The music is integrated masterfully with the story, and much of the music is diegetic, due to the protagonist being flutist. The diegetic music makes up the various characters' themes, as well as the theme of death, and much of the non-diegetic music is full of separate leitmotifs for various factions, most of which directly derive from the main theme of Xenogears. Xenoblade 3's soundtrack is incredible, with hundreds of tracks, many of which are dynamic, and almost all of which are fully orchestrated. the soundtrack is something special for a fan of this series, and even those unfamiliar with it. I highly recommend that you check out Xenoblade 3's soundtrack, as well as Xenoblade 1's and 2's, as I and many others consider it to be one of the best game series in terms of music. I absolutely agree with that. Like, Xenoblade has some really good music, like, throughout all three games, as well as even Xenoblade X as well. But yeah, Xenoblade 3, like, I'd have to agree with you there that it's the best out of the Xenoblade series. But yeah, I really enjoy that soundtrack, and it's definitely up there as one of my favorite soundtracks of all time. Like, I just really enjoyed the music, and it definitely plays a role in the storytelling, like you said. Like, it definitely flows really well with it. And, like, the cutscene music, I feel it's very powerful, like, during some of the darker moments and or emotional moments of the game. Like, it's just really moving, and I just really enjoyed it in general. And the battle themes as well are really enjoyable. They're really energetic with some of them, and it's just really good overall. And, like, even with Future Redeemed, which just released recently, I really enjoyed the soundtrack there as well. It kind of brought back some of the music and kind of covered and rearranged some of the music from Xenoblade 1 as well. And yeah, I just really enjoyed the soundtrack there, and yeah, it's just really good overall, and definitely one of my favorite video game soundtracks. And yeah, it's just really enjoyable overall. And I would have to say, like, Xenoblade 1 and 2 also have great soundtracks. Like, Xenoblade 1 is also up there, and then Xenoblade 2 as well. Like, they both have amazing battle themes, and it's just really enjoyable to listen to overall. It just definitely some of the best video game soundtracks. It's just really nice to listen to overall. But yeah, anyways, those are the responses to last week. So the next question is, which Nintendo game deserves a rematch? The next question is, which Nintendo game deserves a remake or remaster? Let me know down in the comments. So anyways, thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more, and make sure to check out my Discord server if you want to. Goodbye.